everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome here to the This Week in Anderson on the Big Eye Sports Podcast on USPN Sports. And as always, I'm joined with my co-host Steve Ellis. And Steve, our next guest is a guy that I know from just in my days playing, one of the great running backs again in Anderson High School history.
Yep.
We have him, but I remember is just screaming his name all the time during the broadcast.
Yes, you did.
And the thing that was beautiful about it was it didn't matter if Kenny had the ball or Kenny Rydell had the ball. I was yelling Kenny, and I was right no matter what. So, I can't see, and it's hard for me to see. But so Kenny Rod was an unbelievable running back, and it's just so great to have him in here tonight.
I thought you were a relative of his back then with the way you were cheering.
Screaming his name, yeah.
No, you were such a homer. You're still a homer.
I am a homer, yes,
but,
you're right.
We had that podcast a while back about, and I don't know if Kenny knows about this, we did a podcast with the top 10 quarterbacks for Anderson football, which was, that's just opinions.
Right.
May not be complete facts, but we heard good news and bad news off of that. But, we do the running back ones. This guy right here is definitely going to be mentioned in the conversation, for sure in the top 10.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So, I mean, and that, again, it was, we got a hard time about, especially at my golf outing, when Kurt Shoemaker and all those guys didn't, but it was all in fun. I mean, everybody knows it was hard because we have to include the guys in 1948 and all that stuff, so it was kind of hard to do. But but just so cool to have Kenny here tonight.
Yep, absolutely.
So, as we said, joining us is Kenny Rod. Kenny, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So let's go back to your the days growing up in Anderson. Talk about where you grew up in Anderson, how long you've been there, and what side you were on. I was always on the good side of Summit over here in Summit Estates. So talk about what side of Anderson you were from.
So I grew up, actually lived in a couple different houses. My mom's in real estate, so it seems like I moved around quite a bit. Always on the Maddox side. I went to school at Maddox Elementary, then I was at Anderson Middle School when it was at Anderson High School.
Oh, wow, yeah.
7 through 12.
So they're 7 through 12.
Yeah.
So I've always lived on this side of Beachmont.
Well, that's good. That's good. And again, like that, was it? Like Steve and I have always talked about, growing up there, just the friendships that you had growing up in your neighborhoods are pretty much lifelong friendships.
Yep. I still, the two girlfriends that I have from high school I grew up with in elementary school, and then my high school friends are still my 5 closest friends. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
So I think you grew up a little bit, or right when internet was starting to come in.
Yep.
A little bit, but because we grew up, there was no internet, and so doing stuff in the neighborhood, till the lights went out, and the street lights and like that.
Yep.
I mean, was that kind of the way with you guys too?
Absolutely. Yeah. I talked to my kids about this. Like, I used to go over to my neighbor's house, and we'd be gone for 6 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And until dark. And my parents, I guess, either didn't love me or weren't worried about me.
They knew where you were at.
Yeah. Well, I guess they trusted me. We literally would come back we went creeking all the time.
Yeah.
Come back we get lost and have to wander up the street.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's cliche to say it, but it's a different world. Cell phone, I didn't get my first cell phone until I think my senior year in high school.
Right.
Facebook wasn't around.
Right. Yeah. And that's something.
That is crazy.
It's probably a good thing.
Well, Kenny, I want you to think about that. What we went through back then we had this thing called call waiting.
Right.
Where you had to sit there and remember that? Yeah. So you're on the phone and someone calls like, hold on. And you talk to somebody, get back over.
Super cool. And then caller ID came out. You're like, oh my gosh.
That was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. So back then, we tried to organize how we're going to get together and all that stuff. It wasn't like it is today. It's just, and I'll be honest, just my opinion, I think that's what's destroyed a lot of the things that are with society and the kids and all that stuff. I think it's just ruined them.
Yeah, and the sports, Daniel could look up his stats the next. They got films. Like I still played when they had to exchange VHS tapes.
Right, on Saturday morning or.
Never knew how many yards we had rushing until you'd read the paper the next day.
Yep.
Right.
And Yappy, I don't know if that's still around.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Those were there, but now it's just there's so much more going on, distractions, the people talking. So I'm kind of glad I grew up when I in the time that I grew up.
Well, saying that, you're funny. You said the VHS tapes. There's that little tub right there.
Yeah.
That's all the VHS tapes that I had from back in the day when you were playing. So
vintage stuff.
Just about every game. Yeah. So when you were a Maddox Mustang, I can say it. What sports did you play as you were growing up?
I was a soccer player.
Okay.
I played club soccer, pretty serious club soccer, up until 7th grade. And this is a funny story. It's the reason I started playing football is got sick of it. We traveled all over the country, and my mom dropped me off at 7th grade football practice and left me there. And I may be misremembering the story, but basically she made me go watch it. And then the next week I went out, got pads and helmet. That's how my football career started.
Really?
Is that right?
Didn't play football.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah. And I started out as a receiver and a cornerback. And
really,
when we were doing sprints, I was always me and Moreland were always the winners. And
Mikey Moreland. So when you transferred over to that, because I did that too. I played 1 year football. I thought at the time it was so different because football, you have a play and then you stand around for 30 seconds. Where of course it didn't help the team I played in. Wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But
we were not good either. 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
We were horrible.
But you were going from playing competitive soccer, always on the go, to that. Did that affect you at all?
I don't really remember that. And, it's a whole different concept. Trying to teach your kids even your wife, like how do they know what to go, how do they know where to go on each play? And it's you do it enough in repetition and in practice. That's why I tell my kids, you don't need to start playing football really until you're
8th grade, 9th grade.
I couldn't agree more.
You'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
To each their own. And I think if good coaching, you can avoid people are concerned about concussions and stuff. But
so you played soccer, then football. Did you play anything else?
Yeah, I played baseball and basketball. But I'm 5'8", so that wasn't exactly my sport. I led the team in steals, but led the team in missed layups as well. So.
Could you make free throws?
No. I was not good at. Wasn't that good at baseball either. So
really,
soccer and football are my 2 sports.
Okay, all right. So when you got into Anderson, which back then was 7 through 12, because there was no Anderson Middle School or Forest Hills Junior High or Nagel at the time, so 7 through 12. So you got introduced pretty early to Vince Siriano. And the whole football situation there. So talk a little bit about Vince and how all that started for you, with all the great teams, Jason Drusos of the world, coming up that path.
Sure. So one of my first friends on the football team was Chris Siriano, obviously Coach Siriano's son. So it was around him, was around his dad, ended up aiding for Coach Siriano in my, not exactly sure what years, probably 8th, 9th, 10th, but we had locker rooms really close to theirs. I don't really remember exactly what room we had because we had so many. But you remember him being vocal. His office was up in the weight room, so you always saw him around. 7th and 8th grade, you're kind of kept apart, but it was really unavoidable to cross paths with him. So I saw Joey Sherrill lifting weights, and Joey was a monster back then. So he was one of the running backs I looked up to. Don't really remember. I think Regan was there. So
Mike Regan.
Mike numbers. I don't know.
Yeah, there's Mike. There's Tom.
There's Danny.
It was 20.
Brian Regan.
Different family though. It was number 20. He was number 23.
Oh, that's right. There was another Regan.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
So that. I didn't necessarily associate Coach Siriano with Anderson football at that period.
Okay.
You knew who he was. You knew the players. You looked up to them. They were the coolest guys ever.
Oh yeah.
So that was my exposure.
Yeah.
Were you ever a ball boy?
No
ball boy.
Nope. That Daniel took.
Daniel took big pride in that.
Yeah.
Daniel was all over it.
Oh yeah. It was good. That's a good experience. You get to be around the guys.
Oh yeah.
He was a punk. He still is, but
but he learned.
He did.
Yeah.
Love the brotherly love. That's kind of way we were too.
I mean, just thinking about that, and I know it was probably a little bit intimidating being a 7th grader in the high school with seniors walking around. I mean, I don't know how much interaction you guys had. I remember them saying they were trying to keep them separate, but I don't know how you keep them separate.
I had study halls with seniors.
Holy cow!
Oh man!
But I mean, so there's some good and bad to it. I mean, but just to be in the school and a part of that.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
because you felt like you were part of the team.
That's right.
Now they're Nago and Nighthawks. We're not even in the same mascot, so we had the same helmet. helmets and the same.
That's cool.
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. And I think, now correct me if I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this, and I try to, so I got some more information, but when you played with Vince, I believe that was the first or second year that he brought the spread.
Yes.
So it was the first year that when you were a junior, that was the first year of the spread, is that correct?
Yeah, the spread no huddle, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we went down to, Coach Sirianno was really good friends with Tommy Bowden down at Clemson, and I think Tommy Bowden may have brought it to college.
I think he did.
Spread no huddle. So we went down to one of their camps, came back, put it in the summer, and we were the first team in Cincinnati to run the spread. I think he even run the spread. And then the first game, the scrimmages, we didn't do the no huddle yet. We saved it for Lakota West, and then they didn't know it hit them. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and it's just thinking about that. Like you said, a lot of teams weren't used to that. Did it take a lot? So if you were your sophomore year, you're obviously doing Vince's old offense. So going into your junior year, was that kind of like not shell shock, but just kind of like everybody was, I'm sure, excited about it. I'm sure.
So my sophomore year, I played a little varsity. Brian Regan was the quarterback. Okay. We did a lot of option, so we kind of weren't in the power eye like they were. But I think when you guys played, so he had started hinting at I think we did some shotgun, but we had put it in the summer, and you practice a lot in the summer, so I don't really recall like, hey, this is so much different, but we had a lot of speed,
Right.
Jeff Ackerman, Michael Moreland. I think we were just equipped for that. Kenny Rydell was a great spread quarterback.
He was, and I remember Vince telling, when I talked to him earlier today, was that when one of the key things was that Tommy Bowden was saying, my quarterback ran for 1,000, my running back ran for 1,000. Yep. I had 4 wide receivers that caught for blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I've got those guys. Yep. And because the one thing that Vince said about you was that he could run the ball and he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and that was huge in that offense. Yep. So that was big, I think, to get that thing going.
Yeah, and kudos to Coach Sirianno for making the offense fit his personnel. We had, like I said, the guys on the receivers, and Kenny Rydell, and then Matt Dills isn't Matt Dills wasn't much a runner, but he was a good solid quarterback back there. So
Yep. So I want to talk a little bit more about Vince, because all I see is from the stands. I didn't play football for Vince, so talk about Vince and maybe how intense he was. How much does that bleed off into you guys, whether it be practice or the pregame speeches? I can only imagine, or even the halftime speeches.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to. Nope. I don't think. I don't know if Vince would survive this. What they call it, the woke culture today. But it was fun. That's what I knew about football. Coach Sirianno was the only coach. I had some 7th and 8th grade coaches, but his speeches, pregame speeches, super intense. Never too hard on anybody. But if you needed to be corrected, he would correct you, and you just. That was just expected. Right. Nobody went home and told their mom or anything like that. It was just football, and you knew he cared about you, and you knew he wanted you to win, and that's what it took, and that's why we were successful, I think.
And it's funny because, how we're doing that documentary on the history of Anderson, and just the stories that I've heard from about Coach Brown, and everybody loved him. But some of the stories that I heard about Coach Brown was, one of the things that would not work now, but, they didn't have lights, back then. Yeah. And he called all the parents up and said, bring your car up here. And he made them park in a thing, and he wanted to keep going until those kids got it right. And today that would not work.
Turn their lights on.
Yeah, turn your lights on your car so we can practice. And that's the way he was. It's just funny. And Vince, not that, Vince was, I just feel like I would have loved to play for Vince.
Yeah, it was a great experience. He was very structured. His practices to the minute, which was great. You knew you knew what you're getting into. And I don't have any experience. I don't know how Dreyer does it, but I'm sure they have similar.
But he's just more. I think Vince freaks out when he goes to practice because it's not as structured as, let's say, Vince. Yeah, he's like nonstop and just going. And Vince, which nothing wrong. It works. Whatever works. But I don't know. I'll tell you what, Kenny, when I coached Vince's first year, I thought I knew football. Didn't know crap about football.
He's
I mean, he is unbelievable.
That's what he knows. He's the back of the napkin kind of guy, and he's in the middle of church writing plays now. I'm being facetious, but that's how he is.
He probably true.
He eats, sleeps, and literally, and that's why he thinks about it.
Yeah. The other thing, now I could be wrong. I can't remember this for certain, but I believe your senior year, I thought you guys went undefeated.
We did.
And you played Princeton, and it was Mike Daniels, I believe, that went just hog wild crazy. And you guys really, it was a shocker, to be honest with you. It shocked me because they put up a lot of points.
Yeah, we got it.
But you guys were expected, obviously, to win that game, I think. But you didn't play though, right? You got hurt. Weren't you hurt that last game against McNick?
I got hurt the Turpin game.
So, it's Turpin game?
And, people say you're in the zone, like, you know when you're in the zone. That was probably the best game I've ever played, and I got hurt, like, the first quarter.
Really?
So I sprained my right ankle. I don't remember what I sprained my ankle, taped it up, played against McNick. That was Brian Cupido, McNick.
Yes.
I think Kevin Huber was on that team. Sprained my other ankle, so I just couldn't go. Matt Dills got hurt. Somebody else, Matt Molnex. I think Matt Molnex was out that game. So we weren't the whole team, but I don't know that would change the outcome, quite honestly.
Right. Well, and then the year before that, wasn't that the year
the St. X game?
The St. X game at home?
Yes.
40-37 or something like that.
It was yes, very close.
And then it was so physical, and then you had to go into the next week, and everybody was still beat up.
We went to Coleraine.
Yeah,
that team was
that was a college team.
Was that the team?
James Battle, yes.
Yeah. Was that the team that won the state championship?
I don't know if they did or not, but they were. I don't know how many Division I guys they had, and we were young and inexperienced. I mean, it was.
Well, it wasn't that we were talking to Rick Haynes, who coached at Coleraine, with Chris Newton, and they were talking. I think it was that team talking about all the Division I guys.
Monahan was on that team.
Hey, listen to what he said. This is funny.
Go ahead.
When Rick Haynes said that one of the players next to him, I can't remember what he said. He looks at Coach and goes, he sees Anderson walking off the bench, and he goes, "Hey, Coach, is that their band?"
Yeah, right.
He's because you guys just look small compared to what they were. I mean, and like he said, how many you said you had, like 8 or 10 Division I guys? I mean, that's amazing. Every bit of it. Yeah, it's just crazy.
But getting one last point on Vince, I mean, from everybody we've talked to, saying that Vince's practice was just like a college practice. The way he ran things, like a college program.
Yes, and that was a great experience for us. I mean, we were teenagers. We didn't really know what we had.
Yeah.
But I think that's, we don't exactly have an influx of Division I recruits coming through that door every day.
Right.
We have our fair share, but getting what he got out of the players was absolutely a testament to his coaching style.
No question.
The coaches around him, 7th and 8th grade, we didn't win a game. We didn't win a game 7th and 8th grade.
Is that right?
Wow. But
that's crazy.
We were practicing the fundamentals. We were getting the base, the foundation of what would take us.
Yeah.
And I think Coach probably had something to do with the plays and how the practices were structured. But
absolutely. Well, he had a good group of coaches too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, great coaches.
Wasn't when he did the spread? Wasn't Mike Cook the offensive coordinator? No,
I don't. Was he?
Do you remember?
Yes, I think he
was.
He was definitely involved. I don't know if he was calling plays. I think Coach called plays. Honestly.
Oh yeah,
Coach Serrano called the plays.
I think you're right. I remember seeing him on the sideline calling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coach Giesting was the defensive coordinator.
Right. Yeah.
Scott, Coach Peters and
Coach Pete. Yeah.
Coach Molnex and
not Jake.
Parrish.
Lou Andriatis was
sweet. Lou.
He was the best coach, the hardest coach I've ever had.
Yeah.
He would make, and 2 days we'd have to come up on the track and run more as running backs. But I learned the most from him. He's only my coach for a year, but he was
really,
he was a great coach.
Great guy too.
Yes.
And I think if you think about it, Vince is set the, I mean, you see it at our golf outing, you see all the guys that show up that you guys were, well after Iowa, and we got guys that are back in the 70s are showing up these, and it just shows what what Vince built, and everybody loves being around each other. And it doesn't matter the difference in ages, and I think that's all a testament to Vince and Jeff Giesting and Evan to keep it going. I think they've built that culture that continues today.
Yeah, and when we go to games, we stay on the sidelines or in the end zone, and we all hang out, even if we play together or not.
Everybody knows it. Yeah. That's a great thing, especially for Danny doing the golf outing. Everybody gets together.
It's so awesome.
That's our favorite. We penciled that one in 365 days
in advance. Yeah.
Well, that's funny because I had my cousin unfortunately picked June 4th for his wedding, and I put the announcement out there that he's like, man, we're getting married. You think I was like, no, I don't think I can move it for your cousin. I love you, but I have to keep this date every year.
It's okay to miss 1 year.
Yeah. No, I can't. I mean, it's going to stay that way until I stop it, because everybody knows that date.
And don't stop it. We're letting the wives know that, hey, in 9 months we're out. That's just it.
Yeah. So Kenny, let's talk about after high school. So where did you go? Was there any thoughts of playing football, or did you play football after high school?
So I did not play football after high school. I did dip my toe in the water. I took a couple official visits. It was mainly Ivy League and I took an official visit to Wash U in St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
That's a nice school, too.
Decided wasn't probably for me as a 5'8", 160-pound guy. Probably could have played.
Yeah.
Decided to go to Vanderbilt down in Nashville instead. And
good school.
Just go to school instead.
What a great school.
Fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So...
And you're right there, right by downtown, by Nashville.
Yep. It was a great experience.
So I hate to say this, and this is bringing my age, I guess. Were the Titans there yet?
No.
Not yet?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Really?
That was 2000. I graduated in 06.
So
if they were...
I don't think they were. If they were still the tennis...
They might have been there. I don't know. That's embarrassing. I don't know that. It just shows you I didn't really leave the campus that much. There's a lot to do around there.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about your brother Daniel, who was a quarterback on the state championship team. And, what he had a huge part, and we've talked about him on the all-time quarterbacks and everything, but just to be there. And I've said this before about, I didn't play football at Anderson, but I'm a lifelong resident and went to Anderson, and I coached at Anderson, and my kids went through there. Just to be at the state championship game, and you had a little more involvement because, you had a piece of that championship, whether you were dressed or not. And then, obviously, your brother being the quarterback. How cool was that?
It was awesome. I went to all the playoff games, and actually I think Chris Arana went with me to most of them.
Did you?
It was a super cool experience. I tell them it was Division II, so
oh, we've had that conversation.
We would have won Division II state championship too. I'm sure a lot of guys said
they have.
But they beat who was in front of them, and
that's right.
Nick Truesdale was on that team. Beginning of the season, don't think I'm offending anybody. Nick was not that good.
No,
he was just a punter.
I agree.
He was just a punter, right?
Yeah, and to see what he turned into was, Daniel had some pretty good players on that team.
Oh yeah,
Ronk and those guys.
Yeah, and
good line.
Norwell. So it was cool to be there, and super nervous. The Turpin game was probably the best game I've ever been to in my life.
You're exactly right.
And people still talk about it. You run into people now who either were playing in that game or had their brother was playing in that game.
Right.
Know about, and the opinions are still there. The Turpin side.
Oh, we've had to bite our lip a couple times talking to Turpin people. And we're like, yeah. We won though.
Yeah. And it was cool to hear him after the game, because as a fan you don't really know was that supposed to be like that, or what was the plan. And I think the touchdown he scored at the end was I think they told him to spike it.
Mm-hmm, they did,
and he, for whatever reason, went rogue.
I mean, I've watched that play 500 times,
and he ran into the thing,
he ran to the line,
and then
went left. Yeah.
So it was a cool experience to see the whole, and to finally get a state championship at Anderson, and have my brother be part of it. It was cool.
It's beyond,
I mean, it was emotional for me being, like I've said this before, playing on the teams that, no one cared about, and we got the crap beat out of us, and then to see, I'm broadcasting a game and seeing my high school play in front of 20,000 people. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I was crying, man. It was so cool to be a part of it, just, on that end of it. But can't even imagine it's my brother. I don't think I could, if Timmy was playing in that, I don't think I could have made it.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, it's 14, 15 years ago now.
I know,
that's crazy. And I think the next year's team might have been a better team.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Slater was unbelievable. And what was Elijah Story the year before that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kyle Slater was...
He's
a truck.
He's one of... We've had this argument with a lot of people, and I feel like he's and I'm going to get crap for this, but one of the best running backs in Anderson High School.
I don't disagree. And Elijah Story has got to be up there too. I don't know if they were two. If you add the total stats up, I think Slater had close to 2,000.
He
was a beast.
So
and I really believe strongly that if he didn't get hurt against Elder, they would have beat Elder in that 2009 game.
The next year,
when they played Elder, and Elder went to the state that year, and we lost 28-21, and we ran for like 600 yards on them.
Was that at UC?
Yeah. And he got hurt, and Norwell didn't play that game because he broke his leg.
Oh yeah,
so
that's right. He did.
I mean, I think they would have beat him.
Wow.
But,
All right. Well, let's talk about your family, because you've merged families with another popular Anderson connection here, and you talk about your kids and what they're into now.
So I married actually my high school girlfriend, Alexis Coy, back then. We have 2 kids. Luke is 8 and Brant is 6.
Okay.
And Luke, I was just telling Luke, I picked him up from basketball before I came here. He's got baseball practice, basketball game, and soccer training on Sunday.
So really?
We're all into it.
Okay.
Wow. That's crazy.
I love it.
And then Brand's playing soccer and basketball now.
Okay. Are you helping coach any of those teams?
Yeah, I coach soccer because I know soccer.
Okay.
I help with baseball, but I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Okay.
And then basketball, I don't. But I help out as much as I can.
Yeah.
I think coaching is a good way to give back, because not many parents want to be the head coach. A lot of people be assistant coach.
Yeah.
I'm involved with the Anderson Township Little League, and we always have hundreds of assistant coaches and like 17 head coaches. So I think it's good, and you have some control over what the kid learns, and I know enough to know that I'm not going to screw up the kids.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Danny, we talk about this, what Anderson means. And I know you're going to ask that question, but here's a guy who went to Anderson, married an Anderson alum, and now lives in Anderson.
Right. I mean, that's.
I don't know.
We're doing the same thing.
I think we're done.
Yeah. No, we did the same thing.
The kids are going to St. X.
Oh. Hold on, I got to call Vince.
I got to call Carol. Carol's not going to like that.
Yeah, I'm joking.
I know you are.
Well, before I get to that, the questions I'm going to ask you is that, it's always important to have, great family. My mom and dad were awesome. Steve's mom and dad were awesome. And for me, doing the things I did, your mom and dad were incredible to me as doing the thing. And your mom was on the Football Moms. And so your mom and dad are incredible people in Anderson High School history for me. Yep. And I think a lot of people think the same thing. Your mom and dad were hands down, we've dealt with some great parents, but I still talk to your mom, and I don't talk to your dad as much as your mom, but just talk about your parents. Your parents are incredible.
Yeah, I was one of 5, so they had all kinds of stuff going on. I think, were they the presidents of the Boosters, or they?
I think at one time your dad I know your dad was. Yep. Your mom was involved in everything.
Yeah, so they did a lot of that stuff. The Booster Bash, I think, was one of their things. They were at every game. They still go to every game they possibly can. My brother, Daniel, played baseball in college, and they used to drive around the country going to his games.
Awesome.
I think they're going to I think they're trying to go out to
she
LA.
Told me they are.
That's what she told me.
Yeah.
So they love sports, and I think it was really cool for them to see their kids get involved.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily push us, other than her dropping me off at 7:30 practice. I'm joking.
That's a funny story.
So yeah, it's cool, and Anderson's obviously a great place to raise a family, which is why we're back here, having family close. My sister lives across the street.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Her sister lives across the street from us, so my parents are on one side, her parents are on the other, so we have a lot of family here, and it's a great environment, great community.
So you have the new varsity baseball coach living across the street from you?
I do. That's my brother-in-law. Yeah.
How about that, Sean Brennan?
Sean Brennan. Yeah, we're going to try to get him on here. Yeah. We talked to him and trying to get him on. So.
Good luck. Yeah. I'm just kidding. He's super busy.
I was saying not that he's busy right now.
So he's coaching Anderson, and he's coaching Luke. My oldest is playing. I don't know if you're familiar with Anderson Township Aces. It's like this,
I've heard of it.
The select Anderson Township team. He's coaching that team.
Oh, wow.
So he's the head coach, and I'm helping out.
Okay.
So we have baseball twice a week, and then he's got Anderson baseball like 5 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
And then 4 kids on top of that.
That's crazy.
I'm glad he's the coach.
Yeah,
I'm excited for him.
He is a phenomenal baseball mind. He knows baseball better than anyone I've seen, and it'll be cool to see what he does with that program.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get him on here and we'll have to see what he says about you.
Yeah.
That guy won't cut his grass for anything.
He will. Just kidding. No, he's a great baseball guy.
That's good.
So Anderson got a good coach.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm real excited for him.
Just to go back quick on your mom, what's cool for me too was that, you were there, she was football mom, and then Daniel was there, and it was football mom. So I got your mom for you. I had
nice
your mom
little run.
So I was super depressed when your mom left because she did everything. I mean, she did everything. She bent over backwards. She did, and so it was hard. And I'll be honest, it is hard for me when the moms leave.
Yeah.
Because you get so attached to them, and they're so awesome, So, but I just want to throw that in because your mom has just been, maybe I'm just going to hire her just to help me do stuff, So I'm sure she would.
You got to wait till the Bengals win.
Yeah, that's right. Then I'll sweet talk her then after they win.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly right.
So we talked a little bit about so some of the friends that you said you keep in touch with in high school. Just name a couple of the guys. I know you said Chris Soriano. You still talk to. Who's some of the other guys you keep in touch?
Joel Stone. He played basketball.
Yeah.
He was in my wedding. He played football. But he moved away, but
he's in a golf outing.
He's in the golf outing. Yes. Matt Davey played soccer.
He's in a golf outing.
Not that many football players, but
really
some of the younger guys that played soccer.
Like who?
Tom DiPuccio and Matt Homan. Those guys.
Yeah.
Adam Niestratz runs with us, and
that's pretty cool.
They all play sports. I think Adam Niestratz still has the 100 record, which is
really
ridiculous.
Wow. So, how good was the soccer team when you were in high school?
I don't want to. Again, I don't.
Did they miss you? Is my question.
No, they did not miss me. Frank Zuccola was the coach.
Frank Zuc, yeah.
Back then, he tried to get me to play. But I was so tired of soccer at that point. I was a kicker. I kicked for varsity my sophomore year.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right. And I don't remember that.
The East-West All-Star game my senior year, they didn't have a kicker, so I had to kick.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it was cool.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like Money Mac we got.
Yeah, right. And it's the weirdest thing. Like when you're out there, there's a bunch of people. When you're about to kick a field, you don't hear anything. Like when you're playing, I think you probably know this. Like you don't really hear the crowd.
Right.
It's they're there, but kicking it's the weirdest feeling because you just scored a touchdown. Everybody, or most of the time, everybody cheered, and now they're kind of quieting down, and it's like an eerie feeling.
Right.
Everyone's watching you.
Yeah. Like a bowler.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of talked about why Anderson's a special place, and I mean, obviously it's special for us because we went away to college for a year and came back, and we've lived here ever since, and just again talk a little bit more about what's keeping it. Just is it because the community's so good? Is that why you're here? And family. And
family, and I don't love big cities. The Chicago's and the New York's of the world, but Cincinnati is kind of a big city. You can get downtown from Anderson like 3 different ways in 15 minutes. You have 3 professional sports teams now. So you can expose the kids to a lot of stuff. It's not and obviously if you live somewhere else where you don't have that, you adjust to that lifestyle. But growing up here, like the Four Seasons, we like the location of you're close to a lot of things. So and the schools are good.
Absolutely.
So we don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. And our boys will
go to St. X.
God willing, go to St. X. Anywhere but Anderson. Actually, we're moving to Turpin side, and that's where they're going. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh!
No, that's people ask us all the time. Where are you going to send them to high school? Like, why do you even have to ask that question? And I went to a relatively competitive college, and I was just as well educated as a lot of the kids that went to the St. X's and these other schools.
Sure. Oh yeah.
So I have no reason. Every reason to send them to Anderson.
Really. Well, that's good. I like to hear
It's so funny, though, because there's some people it really matters to about, if you're Anderson, it's Hatfield and McCoy's, with Turpin, and, Danny and I are obviously that way, but, look at our AD and our principal. They were at Turpin.
Right.
They were easily converted.
I just think for me and you, it's just that back in not that it's not anymore, but back in the day, that was our game, no matter how good or bad we were. And it was with McNick too. McNick was a big deal back then too for us. And I think that's why we're the Turpin, because that competitive nature that we have. Anderson Turpin, Anderson McNick.
Is it still like that? I mean, do they still not like each other?
I don't think it's because the kids go to Nagel.
That's true.
And they're friends. I think it's more the adults.
That's where it all ended.
Right. So when Nagel happened, they're friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And the parents have a bigger problem, like guys like me. Not that we have a problem, but just it's that competitive thing we had way back in the day. I think that's what it is. So I don't know, but all right. So let's get into some of your memories here. Like give me your favorite high school memory, and then if you got anything in college. I don't know about college, and then maybe like a favorite teacher or coach.
My high school memory, there's probably a lot of them. I think it's probably football, something to do with football. There's certain plays that I remember vividly.
Right.
And just, I don't remember which game it was, and Michael Moreland, rest in peace. On the way, the bus rides from the away games on the way home were some of the best times I've ever had.
Absolutely.
Michael Moreland would be Kermit the Frog and be interviewing Coach Soriano. I don't know if you've seen our highlight film, but
when he imitates Soriano, it's hilarious.
So some of those times where I don't know if I could specify one, but it was just you just want a football game, doing what you love, and then you're just messing around with your friends on the way home.
So that's a good one.
I love it.
College, you probably I don't know. Vanderbilt had a relatively good basketball team back then, so watching those games, a Kentucky game I don't know if you've been to that basketball arena.
Was Cam Newton the head coach then?
Cam Newton?
No, it was.
Cam Newton's a football player.
No, there's Cam Newton that was a.
No, Kevin Stallings was the coach back then.
There was a basketball.
There was a Newton, but I don't know it was Cam Newton.
It wasn't Cam.
I don't think so.
I don't think of Vanderbilt. I think it was Stallings, and then Bryce Drew took over. And then Jerry Stackhouse. But something involved that, and college is college, so
we'll leave it at
long
that.
Nights,
we'll leave it at that.
How about favorite teacher?
Mrs. Coleman is up there for sure. Mr. Clutter, believe it or not, I don't know if anyone's mentioned him. I probably learned the most from him. But there's a bunch of different really good teachers. Dr. Baker was a good one.
So we're not that far apart because Coleman and Clutter were there.
We were there.
We were there.
Mrs. Way, she was awesome, chemistry teacher.
Didn't have. Was Cinco still there?
Yeah, Cinco. I was in his class in 9/11. Never forget that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how old I was. I was in high school. I was actually late to school that day.
That's crazy.
Watched the towers fall in the locker room.
No kidding.
With Coach Soriano,
No.
We didn't do anything. We just hung out on the exercise bikes and on the equipment and watched it.
Oh, my gosh.
That was a crazy time.
That is. You know what? And, Kenny, this is going to date us. But our biggest thing that we had happen was a space shuttle. When a space shuttle blew, because I remember walking down the hallway and they put the TVs on in the library, and I think that was our big moment. I know that was a long time ago, Kenny. That was late 80s. That's scary. So, no, but Kenny, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us, man. This has been awesome. Honestly, we could sit here and talk more about this, but when we get ready to do our top 25 running backs or whatever we decide to do, I'm just going to say, you're definitely going to be on there. It's just, I'm throwing it out there right now.
You're going to get called now.
I am. And people are going to let me know at the golf outing, I'm sure. So, but I appreciate you taking the time, and you're just a great guy, and I love your family, and just I really again appreciate you joining us today.
Likewise, and I appreciate what you guys do for Anderson and the football program and all the other programs for that matter. It's nice to have someone fly that flag and get old guys like me to talk about our memories. So.
Well, and then we got to stick around for the next Rod generation.
Marty Ober's kid and my kid are the same age.
Oh, there you go. Oh, no.
Gunner and Brant roll around.
Oh, there you go.
If I'm still announcing, then I've got a problem.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I've got a problem.
There's different classes that have a lot of good athletes and some don't. It's kind of weird how it skips classes. But there's some good athletes coming up through the ranks, so it'll be fun to watch.
Kenny, that's what scares me the most is that now I'm starting to broadcast guys that I broadcast, and now they're having kids, and they're playing well, think about it. Like Nate Cosman had Max, and you have all these guys that played back in the day, and they're having their kids come through, and it's like, oh my gosh, this
It's not going anywhere. You'll announce a brand, one of my kids someday.
I believe it.
Which will be cool.
That could be scary. How old will I be then? God darn.
Just 10 years.
40.
10 years? Oh, I'm 63 years old?
That's good.
Yeah, that's still young.
You're gonna put a lift in there so I can get up the stairs.
Yeah, redo the press box.
I'm trying, buddy.
Put an elevator in there.
You saw me. We're trying to get that going, so hopefully we'll get that going. So, but again, Kenny, we appreciate it. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. So for Steve Ellis, Kenny Rod, and Dan Albers, you've been watching This Week in Anderson. We'll catch you next week.